Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. In this video we will be looking at what would happen if Heather didn't hide the immunity idol. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe as it benefits my channel and helps me create more videos. You should also feel free to tell me what would happen if you want to see next. So the heroes still win the challenge. So Alejandro is obviously gonna tell everyone Heather has the idol and that they should vote for her, which they will do. So that's for votes to Heather. Alejandro knows though that if Heather uses her idol and votes for him, which she will do, he will be out. So he needs to vote someone different out, and someone he knows he can beat in a tiebreaker. He knows Courtney is good at challenges and he may not beat her. He doesn't really know what Scott is like in challenges. So that leaves Gwen and Cameron. And at this point in the game, Alejandro doesn't know that Courtney and Gwen have made up. So he will think that keeping Gwen in the game will mean Courtney would rather vote her instead of him. So Alejandro will vote Cameron. And it doesn't matter the tiebreaker, because Alejandro will obviously beat Cameron. Even if it's an eating challenge, Cameron won't be good at it either, so Cameron is out. So for episode 7, Zoe will still get her point. Scott loses to Fang. Sierra loses to Cody Jr.'s mother. Alejandro beats Jose. Duncan won't fight the bird. Mal beats Izzy. And Courtney and Gwen will get to points. This means it doesn't matter who Heather fights, because the villains win. So now the villains have to choose who goes home. And I think it's Duncan. This is because Cameron isn't in the game anymore to say that Sierra should be voted. I think they will choose Duncan. This is because he's a strong player and Courtney, Heather, and Gwen don't like him. They also have nothing against Zoe and Mike. Courtney doesn't like Zoe, but even in the original, when they had a chance to send Zoe home, she didn't. The regatta episode will change a lot. Alejandro will still win immunity.
Sweet!
So now this is the episode Mal rigs the votes against Cameron. But because Cameron is already voted out and Duncan has a swell, whoever rigs the votes will be out. And to make Mal seem more like a villain, he will rig the votes to Gaze and Courtney. This is because she is friends with Gwen and Scott, so voting her off would stop to alliances. So Scott will probably go by himself down the way him. And Courtney went in the original. Zoe, Gwen and Mike will go down the hole. Zoe and Gwen go in the original. Alejandro will want to go by himself, but because Heather has nobody to go with, he will probably let her go with him, and I imagine Sierra will just follow Gwen, Zoe and Mike. So Zoe will still be caught like in the original. So even though Scott was by himself, he will likely be caught just because Zeke was in that area. Heather and Alejandro will probably be going slower than Alejandro himself, so they will probably run into Zeke before any of them fall down the hole. So now Gwen, Sierra or Mal will win immunity. But it doesn't matter who wins anyway, because Mal framed Alejandro for rigging the votes. And because Duncan didn't destroy Chris's mansion, Alejandro won't find the control room. So with no Duncan to back him up, Alejandro is out. So for episode 10, Zoe will still win immunity, because I don't think Heather or Sierra will beat her or Mal. And it's pretty obvious Heather will be voted out. So now for Sunday, Muddy Sunday. Mal will still sabotage with the fire plant, but because Courtney isn't in the game anymore to complain and wanting to feed the internet gross food, the race will stay the same. So here I imagine Gwen wins, just because of how she did on the race. Sierra won't be able to win because she only reaches her max power when Cody is in danger. So Gwen will win immunity. And because nobody else here likes Scott, he will be out. So because everyone but Scott is still in the finale, for I will just give Sierra Scott's assigned loot, because Mal has no wreckage to sabotage Gwen's painting with. Gwen will come back with a perfectly intact painting and will get first place. But because Mal still comes back with injured Sierra, and Zoe still gets the Yeti, Sierra will be out. So now Gwen has to choose between Zoe and Mike, and she will obviously pick Zoe. Gwen's helpers will be Courtney and Mike, and Zoe's helpers will be Heather and Alejandro. So the finale too is Gwen versus Zoe. I don't think both would get alternative endings because Gwen is a previous finalist,